What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Professor Anime, and welcome back to yet again another review for Boruto, Naruto Next Generations. This is going to be my review for episode 26 of the Boruto series, and this episode is titled The Mizukage's Successor. So, with that said, let's jump into the review. So in this episode of Boruto Naruto Next Generations, we actually get to see the previous Mizukage herself. And I gotta say, she ain't looking bad for, you know, how many years have passed since she was the Mizukage. I think life has been treating her quite well. Now, Anko, on the other hand, we also got introduced to the present Mizukage himself, Chojuro. Now, we didn't really get introduced to him in this episode of Boruto because we did see him in, you know, the last, like, 2 to 3 episodes of Boruto, so technically we didn't get introduced to him. But anyways, Chojuro is now the present Mizukage of the Hidden Mist Village. And it's kind of gone to the point into which the student has surpassed the master, so to speak. Because if you guys remember in Naruto Shippuden, the previous Mizukage had a student, technically I would say, which was Chojuro at the time. And to see how now Chojuro is actually the Mizukage of the Hidden Mist Village, and he is actually the one who changed the Hidden Mist Village so vastly into a more prosperous and modernized state was pretty cool to see. So basically, Chojuro changed the Hidden Mist Village into a more modernized and prosperous state, so that way it would be completely unrecognizable from what the Hidden Mist Village was originally seen as. And it was originally seen back in the day as the Blood Mist Village, and it was just such a dark time back when the village was known that a lot of people died and just a lot of blood was spilled, and you know, it even caused, you know, the Blood Mist Village reputation to actually dwindle down and being seen as an enemy of all the nations. So Chojuro, as the Mizukage himself, he changed the whole village as itself into a more prosperous and modernized state to simply give the village new meaning and a new beginning for pretty much everyone and more generations to come. So to see that, like, honestly, you know, I respect the man for that. I respect the man, you know, not wanting to have any more ties with, you know, a bad past that the village used to have, you know, completely trying to cut off ties with all that, starting over, you know, a new life for the village as well as the people within it. I respect the man for that. Now, while there are people who are accepting to change, there are still other people in the Hidden Mist Village who are not accepting of that change whatsoever, and that's like what we saw in the last episode of Boruto with those, you know, hooligans, I would say, you know, that ended up getting into that fight with Iwabe as well as Boruto. Well, in this episode, we do see a thug gang who is actually working with one of the individuals that we saw in the last episode of Boruto. I can't remember the guy's name, but apparently he is the ringleader of basically everything and wants to end up capturing Boruto, injuring him, possibly killing him as well, and only for the sake of just gaining the reputation as the Blood Mist Village. And what this will do right here is, if he were to go through with this, is that he could end up starting a war amongst the nations. Because of the fact that Naruto is the father of Boruto, and if they end up harming Naruto's son, as the Hokage, he has every right to end up starting war amongst the Mist Village. And that could be very, very bad, because we know that amongst of all the nations that we have right now in the Naruto series, they are allies with each other. So what this individual is doing right here is completely out of control, completely crazy, and if his plan actually goes through, this could end up starting a war between the Hidden Leaf Village as well as the Hidden Mist Village, which would honestly be pretty interesting on how that would play out, but obviously this isn't going to happen, obviously, okay, because just on how the way the writing of Boruto and even Naruto goes, it's quite, you know, easy to pinpoint actually what is going to happen in the next episode. So Yeah. So because of the fact that the Thug Gang ended up capturing Denki to use him as bait in order to lure Boruto into, you know, their hideout, so to speak, in the next episode, that is where we're gonna see, you know, fights ensue, I guess. Now, regarding Kagura, Kagura is actually a candidate for one of the 7 legendary swordsmen of the Mist. And now, if you guys remember, when it came down to the 7 legendary swordsmen of the Mist, one of those individuals happens to be Kisame. Another individual that used to be of that group was Zabuza. Each of them had a sword of, you know, the legendary swordsman of the Hidden Mist. They were both candidates. So Kagura is technically the next generation of a possible candidate for being the 7 legendary, one of the 7 legendary swordsmen of the Hidden Mist Village. So to see that, that's kind of interesting. Now, regarding Kagura as well, I'm not exactly sure on how I feel about him. I mean, he seems like a nice dude, but at the same time, it did seem as though for a split second when we got to see that fight between him and Boruto played out with the 2 Boken swords, you know, it did seem as though Kagura wanted to strike down Boruto. He started, you know, going completely, you know, insane for a split second, like he was about to lose control of his body. Almost as if he himself, you know, had, you know, that bloodlust boiling inside of his bodies and actually wanted to beat down Boruto to a pulp. So, I'm very curious on how, you know, what else we're going to learn from Kagura as well in the next coming episodes of Boruto, and how exactly he is going to fit into all of this regarding, you know, maybe a possible battle that will ensue with the ringleader of, you know, the Thug Gang. So I'm not exactly sure on how I feel about him at the moment, but he doesn't seem like that bad of a dude, and I mean, he's pretty cool. He's pretty cool, not gonna lie. So yeah, with that said, I think that is everything that needs to be said regarding this episode of Boruto that, you know, needs to be talked about. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, what you guys thought about this episode of Boruto, and also let me know your predictions and expectations for what you want to see in the next episode of Boruto as well. And how are you guys enjoying the series overall? Still, in my personal opinion, the series has been very meh, kind of boring at times, but I mean, hey, to a certain degree, I'm enjoying it. I just really want to see what's going to happen, you know, later down the line, you know, from what we saw in, you know, back in episode 1. Like, I want to see what's going to happen during that point of the series, but it's going to definitely be a while until we get to that point. So we're on episode 26 of the Boruto series, so I don't know for sure or not, but we could possibly be getting a new opening theme by next week's episode. I'm not exactly sure, don't quote me on that, but I have a hunch. So, yeah. With that said, everyone, thank you all for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one.